if you had that question, how many of you would answer the question, I want to live in Attleboro the rest of my life, with a yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the majority of us.
Yeah.
At this
And
age.
in order to do that, we need to have housing so seniors can have affordable housing. But we need to have special taxation policies if seniors are staying in their own homes so that they get a little bit of a break, because it's not easy on a fixed income to continue to pay for your property taxes. Am I correct? I bet I get a good agreement with that one. We have small ways. Is this on now? Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me a little bit better now?
Yes.
So we have small ways that seniors can be helped. We have, and you know, it's not for every senior. I understand that. My wife is one of 120 seniors. My wife is a young senior, 64. I married young. So I married her young. And with 7 years difference between us, I'm 71. And so there are different kinds of, I call it a volunteer work-off, but the actual name of the program is called the Work-Off Program. Is anybody here familiar with the Work-Off Program in the city? By that I mean that if a senior, you are, right?
So Linda is too, and
Linda.
Marion.
Are you participating in the Work-Off Program at the moment? Well, you know people who have. Okay, there are various places where seniors can spend an hour a week. All right, it might be at the city hall, in an assessor's office. I think there is somebody that goes there and helps out with paperwork 1 hour a week. It might be right there at the senior center, welcoming people when we come in the door, and helping to make phone calls to upstairs or answering questions. My wife spends time at the dog park, checking to see if the dogs are properly licensed and have had all their shots. She loves it, all but the first day she did it. The first day she got bit in a place you don't talk about. But she went up to the hospital and they said, you'll live. She's fine now. And she went back. So it's like getting back on a bike after you have a bike accident, which John knows something about. This is my friend John.
Hello,
here.
how are you?
Hi,
John is an incredible help to me. I spend 4 hours minimum, and John knows it, every day knocking on doors, normally on my bicycle. I'm not on my bike today, but I will be later this week. And that way I can meet all kinds of people walking along the streets. I meet people a lot of ways you wouldn't meet them when you're just driving in a car and walking up to a house. But I hand people the palm, those are called palm cards that I handed out to you, and they list the areas that I really try to work hard on. Let me give you an example of a success. I've been in office a year. An example of a success that I had this year, and some of you may know. Did any of your children or your grandchildren either go to Hyman Fine or Hill Roberts Elementary School? Anybody? Yourself?
No, my grandchildren.
Your grandchildren? Which school?
Hyman Fine.
Hyman Fine. So I went to all 9 schools this past winter. I'm not on the school committee. We don't talk about school business very often. But guess what? In late May, 54 or 55% of the city's budget, which is, I forget, somewhere between 170 and 180 million dollars, I think, goes to the schools. And I better know something about the schools. So I went to all 9 schools, and I was at the superintendent's office, set up the tour. The principals took me around. I went into a lot of classrooms, met a lot of teachers, a lot of students, sat in on classes. I was invited back to teach 2 classes, which was very surprising to me. And but when I saw the gym at Hill Roberts Elementary School in South Attleboro, and its twin gym that looks exactly like it at Hyman Fine Elementary School off of Oak Hill Ave, I was appalled. Those schools were built in 1975, and guess what? The gyms were built to be 20 to 25 years old. They're still there. And they're down to the rubber in places. You can see this brown rubber on the ends of each gym. You can't slide on it. One child told me when you throw a beanbag across it, because they tried, it didn't move. Okay? The whole object of a gym floor, one of the objects is to slide, particularly if you're a kid. So, as a city councilor, I sit on a committee called the Capital Improvements Committee. I'm one of the members, I'm not the chair. And the mayor decided in this budget to leave $500,000 available for our committee to look at and figure out what priorities we wanted to fix with that money. We couldn't fix the biggest ticket items, but we could fix a lot of things. We picked about 7 items, all right? One of them was a small building at the zoo, where they keep their food, and it's also the animals' infirmary. And it has a roof that isn't going to last much longer. And that roof would cost $10,000 to fix. So that was one of the things we approved. I asked for the 2 gym floors. I said, I don't want anything else. Can we do the gym floors? They were listed at $75,000, but that figure goes 2 years. So you just figure it out. It's probably more than $75,000 now.
Yes.
But if you never fix it, there's going to be an injury someday. So the committee agreed, and we decided we wanted to talk with the mayor. So we brought the mayor in, and I'm not sure if the mayor had seen the gym floors. I think he needed to think about it, and he needed to go down and look himself. So then we waited. And then every summer, the state sends us money in Attleboro. Every community receives a certain share of a pot of money. Yeah, our share this year was roughly $500,000. Okay. After that money was committed by the state legislature, which Jim Hawkins is our state legislator, the mayor called me in late August and said, "You have your 2 gyms." So I was very grateful for that. And that's one thing that a city councilor needs to do. When you believe in something, you press for it. I'll give you one more example. Last spring, I went down to the Union Street Fire Station. I'll bet a lot of you have been in the Union Street Fire Station. Okay. How do you suppose they clean their uniforms, what they call gear? How do you suppose they clean them?
Hose them.
Hose them? Well, that's an interesting thought. That's why I asked the question, to find out.
What about the street?
They have what's called an extricator, which I don't really tell people with that name, but it's called an extricator. But what it is a huge industrial washing machine. A washing machine that costs $22,000. All right? The Union Street Station's washing machine was 24 years old. So when firefighters go out to fight a fire, there's chemicals that they experience that are coming off of buildings, or if it's a car fire, more chemicals. These chemicals may not even be easily seen, but they get on your gear. And they can eat through what you're wearing, and they can go into your skin. And I learned that morning as I was having breakfast with the firefighters at 8 a.m. And by the way, they serve great breakfast. Sausage, eggs, the best orange juice I've had in years.
Yeah.
And I had seconds. However, they needed a gear washer. They really did. And that's what they asked me for. And then I found out that the station down off Newport, which is a pretty new station, they had the new washing machine. That one was 20 years old. All right. So there's a second one we're gonna really need. It wasn't budgeted. I don't think the year before, because this was in the spring, and we do the budget in May. So the previous spring, they would have had to budget it. We didn't have that in our budget. So we had to find a way to get it in because it can cause cancer. I found out that the average age of a firefighter's life in the United States, and I bet it's not much different here, because there were several funerals this summer of retired firefighters, is 57 years old. They wouldn't be living here if 57 occurred. And this is a serious matter. So I found out that day. I came back and I shared it with the council in a council meeting, and I found out that it wasn't common knowledge amongst the other 10 city councilors. It was just an accident that I found out and shared it, really, because I didn't know what I was going to learn when I went down there that day. So, even though it wasn't in the budget, we made a concerted effort to buy at least the older one for Union Street came first. And we got that in June. And the other one we would have bought, except that our state senator, Paul Feeney, I don't know if any of you know Paul Feeney, but he's really a wonderful man. He introduced it the last night of at the State House, which was July 31st, and the fiscal year ends at midnight. However, they keep the clock moving until 2 a.m. They do things like that. He got it in, and he got the money from the state for the Newport Street. So we have them. And we got a second set of gear for the 20-some firefighters that didn't have two sets, because as soon as they get dirty, they got to throw them in for wash and put on a clean one. Only 20 of them didn't have a clean one to put on. And I found out when I had breakfast that 7 of those 8 men that were having breakfast with me all had 2 sets. The youngest one, who I'm guessing was probably 30 years old and probably had 2 kids and a wife, he didn't have 2 sets. He's at risk. So we've gotten all the rest of the firefighters, including the new recruits. There were 7 new recruits coming in this year. So this is just an example of what we can do in a city council. Now, I've done a lot of talking here. What questions would you like to ask? Or tell me what I ought to know?
Have they started the floors yet?
I'm sorry?
Have they started the floors in the gym yet?
No, that probably has to be done in the summertime. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I'm expecting that definitely next summer. Anything?
Berta wants to ask.
Please.
I'm very impressed with how Hyman Fine is run.
How Hyman Fine is run.
Yes, teachers there are great.
And it's kind of an open school.
Yeah.
Well, I found that when I visited all 9 schools, I was very impressed by the teachers and the classrooms and how well organized they were. And I never saw a single kid act out. Of course, it doesn't hurt when they have, what do they call their computers? They have a word for it. John, do you know what they're?
Computers.
Yeah. They all have these little computers.
iPads?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like an iPad.
Oh.
It's got another name, but they
Nope.
all have something that they can really concentrate on, and even when they're not in a class, they can be doing their work through their, what we'll call it an iPad for today. But I hope you feel that Attleboro is really trying to reach out and care for people and care for seniors especially. We think that by the year 2030, Madeline McNeely tells me this, the director of the senior center, that approximately 30% of Attleboro residents will be 60 or over by 2030. And so, I mean, it is really important what we try to help the senior citizens with in this city. I'm going to sing you a song unless you got another question. You sure you want me to sing a song?
Yeah.
All right. If you think of something, just raise your hand.
Just yell it out.
Okay.
Your guitar's right here.
Ah, it's underneath.
I forgot where I put it.
I don't know why that keeps coming back on.
Did that help you understand a little bit of what a city council is like?
Yes.
Yes.
I think of city council sort of like if you I mean, it's not an exact comparison, but you have a president in the United States, you have Congress, you have the Senate, you have the House of Representatives, and they're a balance of power for each other, and that's what we are. The council is a balance of power to the administration, to the mayor's office. And I like to think, in the best of all worlds, that we're together on what we're doing. I believe in being positive. I think you can take almost any negative in life and switch it around and express it in a positive way if you really try to. And so you don't see me complaining much at city council. You see me thinking about how to creatively make something work. That's how my mind thinks. And that's probably because I've been a social worker. And social workers are there. Nancy's kind of like a social worker over here. You fix people's problems. You help them fix problems. And that's what we do in the city. I help the city try to fix problems. So where does my books? Let's see. John, do you know where my books are?
No idea. I went back
Oh,
out.
did we leave? Did you leave anything when you first came in?
It may be on the.
Yes, I have them right.
Okay. One thing that happens as I turn 70 is that I have to look at words more. You all understand that, I hope.
Yeah.
Sure do.
So,
It's more.
oh,
Well
thank you. I
used.
can use that. Appreciate it.
Alice, you're gonna miss the show.
Ooh.
Alice. He's gonna sing this song.
I
He's gonna sing
I
this
learned. It's not a new song, but it's a new song for me to sing. And I learned a new one recently. Let me just see where it is. Here it is, 242. And I'll do my best with this. I've been working on this one. It's one of my favorite movies. Do any of you seen the movie Ghost?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You like that movie?
Oh, yeah.
You don't like
Okay. Let's see if I'm in
Chin
tune.
flip, I guess.
Well, this was the song that you heard in Ghost.
Let's lower the lights.
The Righteous Brothers sang it, so I'm just one of them. Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch a long, lonely time. Time goes by the stars, at the stars, waiting for the dawn of the day. Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch a long, lonely time. Time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much. Are you still mine? I need your love. I need your love. Godspeed your love to me.
That was a beautiful scene in the movie.
Thank you. Wasn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why I was singing it slower, because that was they were dancing to that.
Yes.
It was a wonderful scene. Now, regardless of whether you liked this particular president or you didn't, the message that Jimmy Carter had, and you all remember when Jimmy Carter was president,
Yeah.
the message that Jimmy Carter had was very unique. I never saw that, and I have never seen it like in anybody since. He talked about the goodness that was in our country, and the goodness that is in people, and that we can be that good a country. He talked about positive all the time, and I don't think we had heard anything like that before or since. And regardless of party, I think he was onto something. And I ask people frequently how much they like living in Attleboro. What kind of answers do you think I get? Tell me how you feel living in Attleboro.
Great.
Great. That's not just an okay, is it? Anybody else? Have you got a word for it?
I've lived in many cities, well, a few cities, but I always wanted to come back to Attleboro. I was born here. It's my town.
It's your town. Well, I had to adopt Attleboro, so you'd have to forgive me for that one. Because I've lived in many places in my life too, but I've lived here the last 20 years in Attleboro. And I can honestly say I have never I've never been anywhere in my life, and I've lived in 5 different states, where I met people who were as warm and friendly, even if they didn't know you. And there's something about Attleboro that's very, very unique and special. And so I think Jimmy Carter was on to something, that he never got to Attleboro. Well, he had his own little town. What was the name of that town? His little tiny town in Georgia.
Yeah.
Plains.
Plains.
Wasn't that it? Now this is another one I like. Check out the machine. I just had new, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had new strings put in. And the strings keep stretching. So you have to keep. This is one I like. It's called Get Together, but I call it Smile on Your Brothers. Love is but a song I sing, that fears that we shall die. You can make the mountains ring, or good is on the wing. You may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brothers. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. I see a few of you know the song. Some may come, some may go, but it will surely pass. Oh, when the one who left us here returns for us at last, we have but a moment's sunlight fading in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brothers. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Third verse. If you hear the song I sing, then you will understand. You hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. One key unlocks them both. It's there at your command. Come on, people now, smile on your brothers. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brothers. Everybody get together, try to love one another right
Yes.
That's kind of what I was talking about. And with that, I am going to say enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Appreciate it. And, I hope I can continue to be your city councilor.
I'm sure you will.